Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Most Survivalist. And keeping up with the news regarding coronavirus, this is definitely a thing that catches most people's attention, the ones I'm getting the most comments on, the ones I'm getting the most questions on. So the latest news is the following. It's over 64,000 people infected, over 1,400 dead in China, and the numbers keep rising. And even people that were a little bit more conservative and more careful in terms of not overreacting are now saying yes, it is a serious problem. It is concerning the kind of numbers we're getting and how quickly the disease is spreading and the number of infected. Now, there's the biggest news in terms of updates would be these two things. It is a lot more contagious than initially thought. It spreads very easily. Its survival rate is also very high, and also the period of incubation seems to be quite high as well. A person may be completely okay for even a number of weeks and then later showing symptoms. There was a case of a woman over 40 days. That's kind of sketchy, but a couple of weeks, definitely. Someone may look perfectly fine, a couple of weeks later still spreading the virus and only then showing signs of the disease. So it's not as its period of incubation is a little bit longer than expected. It is a lot more contagious than initially thought. The other big news is in China alone, 1,700 medical personnel infected, 6 dead. So the interesting thing here is these are trained people in the proper procedures to avoid catching the disease, so as to avoid contagion, and still they're getting infected. This is in China, where lots of things are not as they are in other parts of the world. Also very concerning is how it's all over the internet, how they're arresting people and depriving people of their freedom. They're just dragging them, hospitalizing them. There's a video where it's being explained to these people that they're not hospitalized, but they're in quarantine, so they're not getting any treatment. They're just trapped for a period of time until they either die or get better. Now that's something you would expect in China, which it's a communist country where personal liberties and freedoms are not exactly at the top of their priorities. But it's also concerning that I was reading just yesterday, someone in UK, he was being held in forced quarantine, which is another way of being put that he was also being deprived of his freedom because of the infectious disease that he has. Now, you may be thinking, okay, he has coronavirus, he shouldn't be out there spreading the disease. Fine. There's a number of diseases that you can easily spread as well, and you're not being arrested, you're not being deprived of your liberty and freedom because of it. I mean, just normal flu is also contagious and is also deadly. Maybe not as fashionable as coronavirus, but it is effectively the case. You can spread normal flu, people can end up dying because of it, and yet you're not being arrested or deprived of your liberty and the ability to move around freely because of it. With coronavirus, now that's somewhat okay. I mean, there's a number of diseases that you can easily spread if you're not careful, and you're not arrested or forced into quarantine over it. So that, at least for me, is a little bit concerning. So yeah, those would be the biggest updates. The economic impact is definitely going to be there. China purges officials in Hubei. There's a number of things very concerning. It's all over the news. And yes, definitely the Chinese economy is going to be suffering because of all of this. Guys, in our news, my latest book, Street Survival Skills, where I do talk a little bit about respirators, face masks, hand sanitation, and some of the things relevant to this, is doing very well. Over 30 reviews on Amazon. Everyone's super happy with the book, which makes me happy as well. If you haven't got a copy already, consider getting it. I'll leave the link below there, as I always do. But yeah, I like it a lot. I'm sure you'll like it as well, guys. Street Survival Skills. See you on our next video, folks. Have a great weekend. See you on our next video.